Welcome to the Blogger Genius Podcast, brought to you by MiloTree. Here's your host, Jillian Leslie.
Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Blogger Genius Podcast. I'm your host, Jillian Leslie. I'm a blogger and a serial entrepreneur. I started in 2009 building Catch My Party with my husband. In 2016, we built our pop-up app called MiloTree. And then 2022, we launched MiloTree Cart, which is the easiest way for you creators and bloggers to sell digital products to your audience. It is built for beginners and non-techies. As I mentioned in my last podcast, I have been playing around with ChatGPT. If you do not have an account, I recommend you sign up for one. It is a very interesting, easy, and free AI tool. In fact, yesterday, I led a workshop for our MiloTree customers, showing them how easy it is to use ChatGPT to create digital products. I walked them through creating an ebook, which you can do now in just a couple hours. The response and the feedback I got was phenomenal. If you are interested in tapping into a whole new income stream in 2023, here's what I recommend. Head to MiloTreeCart.com. Purchase our lifetime deal for $349. Remember, we offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. We only want you to keep it if you love it. But what you will see is you get all of these launch calendars and marketing materials, access to me and my team. The simplicity will blow your mind. If you feel like you are working so hard but not making the money you thought you would, please give this a try. And I will happily send you a link to the workshop I did yesterday where I walk you through how easy it is to create your first ebook. Again, head to MiloTreeCart.com. For today's episode, I have Tara Reid on the show. This is not the actress Tara Reid. This is the introvert Tara Reid. She teaches online entrepreneurs, coaches, course creators how to create very successful businesses without all the hustle. So if you struggle with putting yourself out there constantly on social media with that look at me kind of vibe, this is the episode for you. We go deep in how she has built out her businesses, how all of her funnels work, and how she has done this as an introvert. And we talk about how you can do it too. So without further delay, here is my interview with Tara Reid. Tara, welcome to the Blogger Genius Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here and chat all things marketing, business, introverts.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing that really struck me. On your website, you talk about, and in your email, like you are an introverted business coach.
Yes.
Which feels like an oxymoron. When I think of coaches and I think of people who are teachers, they have that extroversion, like that they're just beaming extroversion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's something like I avoided calling myself a coach for the longest time, even though that's really what I was doing. Cause I was like, I'm seeing all these like high energy cheerleader kind of coaches. And I'm like, that's not me. I can't pretend to be that way. That's not me. I'm very, low energy, reserved, which I think if somebody is an introvert, that's what they're going to resonate with and be drawn to versus, because I know I've had a coach in the past who was very high energy. She was an amazing coach, but it was exhausting for me to kind of work with her. Like I'd get off the calls and I would just be like, oh my gosh, that was like way too much for me to take in for an hour. So I think it's like what kind of energy do you want to attract in your business?
As I shared, I would call myself an ambivert. I would have called myself an introvert, but then the fact that I do enjoy getting up on stage, like teaching, but if I can get out of myself, if that makes sense, then I can do that, or doing the podcast. But when I really think about it, I like doing the podcast because I get to talk one-on-one with somebody and I kind of forget that other people are listening to the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I find the same. That's why I launched a podcast too. I was like, I want to like connect with people. I want to share my voice and my knowledge and my story, but I don't really want to do video. So a podcast was just a natural fit. And I feel like with my target audience, like they love podcasts. They love listening to podcasts. They don't want to jump on and watch live videos either. So it kind of works perfectly.
Yeah. And I find too, I am a podcast listener because I can take it in. And for example, I don't go toward TikTok or even Instagram. It's too jarring for me. It revs me up in a way, it gives me anxiety. Even if I'm looking at beautiful photos on Instagram, let's say, it will agitate me. And therefore, for me, my medium is podcast where I can just be in my world, listening to people. And I like certain tones in people's voices. I find them like calming, or I don't know. So I am definitely, I can get too revved up in a way that is like agitating to me, not energizing.
I can totally relate to that. I actually left Instagram and I think it was May of this year. I was finally just like, I'm tired of forcing myself to show up here. It's just so draining to me. And it feels like even just scrolling my feed, I would just feel the anxiety building because it was like there was just so much information. And I love learning. I love like reading new things, seeing how people are marketing and what they're doing and how they're sharing their story. So I would just take in like so much information just every time I went on the app. And that just really started to bog me down. So
okay, so here's my first question. Is it possible to be an introvert and grow a business in today's world when we need to be, let's say, not dancing on TikTok, but sharing our expertise on TikTok and being relatable, sharing our lives? Is that possible?
Absolutely, yes. I think if you're an introvert, it's really about finding ways to market your business that are going to get you the results you want and allow you to grow your business without doing things that are so outside your comfort zone and uncomfortable. Because I always say, like, if you're forcing yourself, I know people say that phrase about push yourself outside your comfort zone, push yourself. No great things are found inside comfort zones. And that always triggered me because I was like, I'm building a business that I love and that I enjoy. And if I'm constantly pushing myself outside my comfort zone every single day, that is not how I want my business or my life to look like. So for me, I think it's about pushing yourself sometimes if it's like fear holding you back to push yourself to try new things. But then it's really about finding what works and that you actually enjoy. So for me, that's like blogging, that's email marketing, that is connecting with people one-to-one in a private Facebook group where I'm kind of like curating my own community versus throwing more noise out into the social media world on
but then
Instagram or TikTok.
Okay, because I would say in business building, we're all of our businesses are funnels. You have a wide end at the top and it narrows, and then ultimately people purchase what you're offering, and that's at the bottom of the funnel. And for the top of the funnel, I would argue that would be the most difficult for introverts because it's typically through things like showing up on social media or blogging or like putting yourself out there to find the people who would be attracted to you. Like I would say that as an introvert, it might be easier to keep the relationship going once they've discovered you because they see that you're real. They see that you're not just all about like jazz hands. That you're like, I'm really going to be providing value and you can trust me. I feel like the trust factor would be higher in somebody who is more intentional. But how do you then get people as an introvert to find you, to like fall in love with you if in fact we're scrolling so quickly and we can't sit still and we don't have the time to go, wait, is that somebody I would want to invest in?
Yeah. So for me, I feel like you're right. That's the big piece is like that's where you're going to have to push yourself a little bit and really dig in and find ways that you can bring people into your world and actually get them where you want them, whether it's your email list, a private Facebook group, wherever you can nurture them. So for me, I really focus hard on organic traffic. So I focus a lot on SEO. I have a background in SEO, so I love when I can have people searching and discover me. That is like best case scenario for an introvert, is not having to actively find them. They come to you through search engines. Then I also tie that in with the blogging and Pinterest, because Pinterest is an easy way to share your content without necessarily sharing too much of yourself. And then I also borrow other people's audiences. So podcast guesting, I love speaking on podcasts. I find that, it was scary at first, but it's a lot easier for me to come on a podcast, or now I have my own, and share my story without trying to be somebody that I'm not. And then also borrowing other people's audiences for email list growth, because my email list is really where my primary focus is. That's where I'm nurturing. That's where I have sequences and sales funnels. And that's where I'm trying to really connect with my audience. So my goal is to get more people into that email list. And I have a ton of lead magnets. I think I have like 10 right now.
Wow.
I'm a multi-passionate. So they're all different topics for different people. And then I participate in a lot of summits and a lot of bundles for list growth as well. And I know summits can sometimes be scary because you're teaching, you're presenting, but a lot of the time it's pre-recorded. So you just record yourself, you can edit it, and if you mess up, you can start over. It's not live, which I really love as well.
Let's go through the path. So in your background, a lot about, let's say, SEO, right? Were you an SEO, by the way? Were you somebody who this is what you did for a living before you got into this?
It was at one point. I've definitely pivoted multiple times. Like I've done SEO. I went to college for website design. I love learning a lot of different things. And I think that kind of sparks the multi-passionate in me, because I know a lot of people also talk about niching down or your one big thing. And I tried to force myself to do that multiple times. Like at one point I was just doing SEO. I had SEO digital products, SEO services. And then I got bored after a few months. I was like, I love SEO and doing keyword research and optimizing websites, but it's not necessarily creative work. And I really wanted to not just put myself in a box like that.
Okay, so let's go through the journey. I am going to discover you in a Google search. What Google search? What am I searching for where you will show up? Like, what is your number one blog post or keyword that you rank for? How would I find you? Like, what am I searching for?
That's a good question. I think so. Some of my top ones are like around virtual assistants, because at one time that was what a lot of my digital products focused on, helping people who were starting a service-based business. So some of my top blog posts are probably like 2 years old, and they're still generating so much traffic. So I've updated them. I've added in more content to link to my freebies that are relevant. I've now started using ConvertBox to have pop-ups on specific blog posts in order to promote specific freebies. Like if I have a blog post that has the word content in the title, ConvertBox will automatically pop up, hey, I have this content marketing mistakes guide. And that's really driven my audience and my email list growth too.
Okay. So I am somebody who decides, you know what? I want to be a VA. So I start searching for that. I might land on one of these posts. Is that like the use case? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And I find you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I read your post on how to be a VA, like what kind of skills I might need. Maybe I could be like a Pinterest VA and help people with their Pinterest marketing. So I'm going to then see some sort of opt-in, like content mistakes, and I'm going to go, ooh, I want that. And I'm going to give you my email address.
Yeah.
Now what happens?
Now I have sequences set up that are automated to continue to add value. Like value is one of my main brand values. I feel like I give away a lot of stuff and a lot of content just because I love helping people. I love creating. So I'm always offering new stuff. It's not like you get on my email list and it's like a hard sell right away. I definitely
So
nurture
remember,
and
like I'm thinking maybe I'll be a VA. I don't exactly know what that is. Like I'm way at the beginning of this journey. I've gotten on I've read something and like, let's say the post, I don't know what it talks about. Let's say one of these posts, but I've gotten a little bit, I go, ooh, Tara, she seems really smart. This is interesting. Or I don't even know who you are. I just go, this information seems interesting. I get on your list. What are you teaching me? How are you providing that value? And then how are you starting to sell to me? And what are you selling to me?
So it's really targeted based on the opt-in or lead magnet that they signed up for. Because I'm multi-passionate and like I have a lead magnet around being a VA, I have one about content marketing, I have one about SEO. So all of these have their own value ladder of next step offers, which is why I currently have about 50 digital products, which
Wow.
is a lot, but I love creating, I love offering stuff. So, for an example, so somebody who opts in for the content marketing mistakes guide, I start off with like getting them familiar with who I am and how I can help them in terms of content marketing. Then when I start to sell, I usually give a specific offer using deadline funnel as well. I like have it an evergreen timer to create urgency. And the next product it would lead into is a content kit. So I've created content kits for different types of service providers. So if there's one for them,
What is a
they can
content
purchase.
kit? What does that mean?
So I was planning on doing a blogging course, and then I sent out a survey to my email list, and they told me that the reason why they aren't blogging right now is because they don't have time. It's not that they don't know how or they don't understand that it's beneficial to them. It's that they don't want to add something else into their busy schedule. So that made me think, okay, if I'm going to create a course, but these people are too busy to do blogging or want to do blogging, they're not going to take a course to do it. So that's where I came up with the idea for content kits. So they include PLR, private label right content that I've created for specific industries. So I have like the VA content kit. It is full of emails, email newsletter copy, social media captions, graphics, blog posts that you can make your own.
And then wait, am I using this content kit to get clients for when I ultimately am a VA to help somebody? Like what is my goal? Why would I buy the VA content kit?
Yeah, your goal is to attract clients through organic search. So this also ties back to a lot of my audience are introverts. So that's really going to be something that attracts them is like, oh, I can take this content kit, make it my own, and I'll start to get organic traffic. And
so is it like blog posts? Like, so it's PLR on like, hey, this is what I offer. This is like, I'm just trying to understand what I get, how to use it.
Yeah. So the content kits is like, so in the VA one, for example, it's like blog posts that are going to attract people who are looking for a virtual assistant. So there's blog posts around 3 signs it's time to hire a virtual assistant. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones offhand. I created this about a year ago, so I can't remember, but people love these content kits because that was what was really holding them back was the time to create content. So giving them a starting point where they can just make it their own, add in their story, their voice, and then post it is just like, and it attracts clients to them is the main goal. Like it's once you get your business set up, it's like you can focus on organic traffic. You have email newsletters that are pre-written for you to send out to your email list as you start to grow it. I even put in lead magnet ideas for each blog post. So if there's a blog post about, I'm trying to think of a topic, but if it's like 3 signs you're ready to hire a virtual assistant, maybe there's a lead magnet idea there about, you could create a lead magnet for this post around a checklist to get to work with your first virtual assistant for clients. So that gives them even additional content and ideas.
Got it. I love this. One thing that we have found, my hunch is that your customers, a lot of them, most of them are women.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that we have found with MiloTree Cart, which is our payment tool, is I can't tell you how, as I shared with you, we interview our customers, we interview our community about this. And I can't tell you how many times people say to me, just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't want, I know what to do, like abstractly, but tell me what to do. So one thing that we have done that has been incredibly successful is we've created like launch calendars. So you want to sell that ebook and you go, okay, I make the ebook. Now what? I know I probably need to send some emails. I know I should probably put some posts up on Instagram, but each one feels like a headache. So we said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to say, give us 7 days and we're going to have a checklist. And not only are we going to have a checklist on day 1, do this, day 2, do this, day 3, do this, but we're going to link to templates for send this email. And in this email, fill in these specific things. Boom. Share this social media post today. Hey, tomorrow, do this. And I will say that we have gotten amazing feedback because it's not like the people who are using MiloTree Cart don't know what to do. It's just pushing that rock up the hill and saying, okay, from scratch, go write an email. It's like, I wouldn't like, that's such a
Where
headache.
do I start? What do I put as the subject line?
Yeah, like I have to think about this. It's just so much. And so just having this guide literally saying day 1 and check it off. And it's not that hard. Or set, in the email, this is the time where you talk about what the benefit is. And here's the email where you say, hey, this sale is ending in 2 days. So get it now, or whatever it is. Like, we've done the thinking for you. Not saying you couldn't have thought this up on your own, but it just like gets you so far. And it sounds like you're doing the same thing. I want to take a short break to say that if you want to start selling digital products, but you don't know what kind of product to create first, go take my digital product personality quiz. Head to milotree.com/quiz. Not only will you get this fun 2-minute quiz, but you'll also get a worksheet to help you figure out what kind of product you specifically could sell. Plus, it comes with the 6 purchasing triggers that I talk about. It's got everything for you to really start this journey. So head to milotree.com/quiz and go grab it. It's free. And now back to the show.
I love how you framed that because it's kind of goes back to the psychology of like, when you have an Instagram caption, if you don't tell people what to do at the end, if you don't have a call to action, people don't take action. Sometimes they need an outline or a step-by-step. And I love like checking things off too. So that's always, I think, a psychology thing too.
As a person who loves lists. And by the way, I am that person who has always checklists. And if I do something that's not on my checklist, I will write it on my checklist and cross it off.
I do the same thing. I do the same thing.
It's so weird, but it like lights me up and makes me feel so proud of myself. Like, I didn't get credit for that. I need to go get credit for that. But it is so true, I think, as a a business owner, we have so many tasks that we have to do. Like you've got to be an SEO expert and an email marketing expert. And then you've got to have your jazz hands up on TikTok, and you've got to like do so much that I think it's so overwhelming. Kind of what you were saying when people are going like, I just don't have the time.
Yeah.
And like one thing we'd say for MiloTree cart very specifically is not just like, hey, MiloTree cart is the easiest way to sell digital products. I say, get a sales page up in 10 minutes. Because all of a sudden, I've given you the parameters of what will happen if you purchase this product. And I think telling people that, like if you were to say, hey, here's my kit, and you could have this whole part of your business up in 3 hours or whatever it is, I think people go, oh, okay, I can do that. Versus this open-ended future where it just feels like drudgery.
That's so true. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of times people, like I always say, nobody can buy unless it's out there. So this, like, just get it out there. This is going to cut so much time out of it too.
Okay, so let's keep going. So I came to you via Google. I'm on your list. You're dripping me value, and then you're offering these content kits. And are those like really connecting with your audience, or is that also a way to lead to your, and how much are the content kits?
They're regularly 47, but we offer a one-time offer in the email sequence where you can get a kit for $17.
Okay. And then I'm assuming you're going to start to offer me more expensive or personalized products.
Yeah. So next in that value ladder, I have a content to clients course. So the next step is like, it's a smaller course. It's very no fluff, targeted, strategic, about how to create your own content, like continue on and create your own content kit, with a lot more ease. It's not going, I don't want it to feel overwhelming or like it's going to take all this time to do it. I give a lot of tips around batching content, repurposing content. Because I mean, people were always calling me in my email list every time I would be like, oh, I did this new thing, or I have all these new things. And they're like, you are just a content machine. I'm like, I know, but and I'm going to show you how I do all of that in this content to clients course. So that's the next step. And then after
And
that,
how much is how much is the course? How many videos? Like, is it a lot? Is it a kind of mini course? How much is the course and how much time?
It's the course is $197, and
Okay.
I think I really like tailored, like the videos are very short. They're like 5 to 10 minutes each because I know I don't love watching super long videos myself. Where it's like I just want the goods. I just want the details. So they're very actionable, and I think there's 8 modules, maybe 2 to 3 lessons per module.
Got it. Okay. And here's a question. Given that you've got all of these content kits, do all of the kits lead to this one course, or is it this course, like, is this course only for people who want to be VAs, let's say? Or do you have other courses that you're offering, or does everything lead to this?
So all of the content kits would lead to this course. But then what I did is after the course, whether they buy or not, I then go back and look at which content kit they purchased, because I have the one for the VA. I have one for a Pinterest manager. I have one for an online business manager. I have one for marketing. And so I have tags in the email sequence. So if somebody purchased the VA one, I also have a VA, oh my gosh, bundle, Canva template bundle. So that's where I have even more really targeted products that I can then also mention or organically sell in the email sequences too.
That's amazing. And then, okay, so then I now moving through that and I get offered these Canva templates that are very personalized to what I'm looking for. And now, are there any other offers?
Usually not in like automated sequences. If I come out with a new offer, I usually send it to my entire list. So if I've run a couple of like 6 or 8 week live group programs that they could join, or I also now have a signature offer that I'm going to talk about probably twice per year. I'm going to do like a push for it where so after they've been on my list and they've consumed some of my smaller products, now might be the time where they want to go into my signature program, which is a weekly group coaching, but they also get access to all of my digital products.
Okay.
And lifetime access to my 2 memberships. So it was kind of built because I had some people on my list who would just buy everything that I put out. And I was like, I really want to reward these people. So I came up with this society where it's weekly coaching, it's access
And
to
where is it?
everything.
Is it Zoom? Is it a Facebook group? Where are you coaching?
It's on weekly Zoom calls. And then I also have a community that I set up through Heartbeat. It used to be on Slack, but I switched. I got a lifetime account through AppSumo for Heartbeat because I was in a community on Heartbeat for somebody else. And I was like, I really love this. So once I saw it available again for a lifetime offer, I snapped it up.
Okay. And that's an app where you can manage a group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And how much is your signature offer?
So I have 6 months or 12 months. And then I right now have 3, but I'm removing that because if somebody signs up for 6 months or 12 months, they get to keep everything that they had access to, or that was live while they were a member. And so right now it's like, I think 3 to 500 per month.
Wow. Per month.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay. I love this. Now, let's say somebody is listening to this and they go, ooh, Tara, you have built this very interesting business and I want to do something similar, but there are so many moving parts. How do you recommend me think about starting to build this without just such overwhelm? Like, do I need a wall size whiteboard where I start putting the pieces together, or was it a more organic approach?
I feel like for me, it was definitely an organic approach. I think like we have to be open to things changing. Like, I mean, looking back 7 years ago, I was working as basically a VA. And I was doing that for several years. And then at the start of the pandemic, I lost half my clients in 1 week. They all wanted to pause. They were all worried about what was happening or had started to lose income themselves. And that was really the switch where I was like, I don't want to just rely on clients. I started to really diversify my income. But it wasn't something I started out with where I was like right now I have 8 revenue streams in my business. That wasn't something that I just out of the gate was like, okay, I'm going to set up all 8 revenue streams because
Could we,
that is
could we
very overwhelming.
you might not remember all 8 of them, but what are these revenue streams?
So the way that I break it down is one-to-one
Coaching.
coaching services, which is basically a VIP day right now. I don't do like retainers or big service packages. It's just VIP day offer. And then my 2 memberships, which is recurring revenue, which is great. My live group programs, the evergreen digital products, affiliate marketing. And then I also added in creating content sites. So I started to build my own blogs and websites.
So, like
And then
being a niche blogger,
yeah. And then I'm selling them.
the sites.
Yeah.
Nice. I love this. I think this is interesting. What I'm hearing you say is that you've built this organically. I call this emergent business building, and I think it is the only way to go. I don't think top-down business building works. So I do not recommend you get the big whiteboard and you start mapping out everything because you don't know how it's going to evolve.
Yeah.
And I compare this to a planned community versus here where I am in Austin, where I continue to see like cool strip malls, like a strip mall that has a tire store all of a sudden has a cool coffee shop, and then the sushi restaurant comes in next to it, and then like the succulent, this is really true, and then like the succulent store comes in, and then like the vintage record store comes in, and you go, oh my god, that like disgusting strip mall now that you would never go, that was kind of skeegy, now looks kind of cool and you want to go there, versus, hey, we're going to do a planned community, here's where the pool's going to go, here's where the houses are going to go, here's where, it just, there's something about online business building that I think really speaks to kind of building on the fly.
Yeah, I always call it following my energy. So I'm like, what do I want to focus on this month? Or like I've had a training planned, and if it comes down to it, like a live training, a paid live training, so people can sign up for this training session. And then when it's time to like create the slides and promote it, I'm like, I'm just not feeling it this month. Let's push this off. I think that's a big part of entrepreneurship is, I mean, planning is great, but don't plan so much that you lose sight of like what's possible and new ideas and new things that you can come up with, because that's where the really big things are going to happen. Like content kits were surprisingly, for a small price digital product, were so popular, and people are always asking me to create new ones, and like my audience is just obsessed with them. And it's something that I almost didn't create, and was sparked by sending a survey to my email list. And it's not something that I would have planned out 5 years ago.
That's so interesting. Now, I'm going to push back, because what I hear you saying is you have to take your own temperature and go like, where am I and how am I managing my energy? But how do you thread the needle thinking about, well, but am I then resting on my laurels? And a lot of times work isn't fun, or it is energy sucking. So how do you, like, what strategies do you use to dig deep when you need to? So let's say you're planning this training and you wake up in the morning and you think about it and you go, oh, I so dread this, which, by the way, I wake up a lot of mornings thinking that. And then there are ways that I trick myself into getting my work done. Some days with drudgery, a lot of times I can snap myself out of that. But how do you recognize when to push, even if you're unhappy, even if it's draining, and then when to pull back and go, nope, I need to really pay attention to myself and what my intuitive self is saying?
That's a really good question. Something that I feel like is always going to be a work in progress too, is like knowing when is the right time to force yourself or to push through things, or to step back and say, yeah, this isn't working for me anymore. I'm not going to, like, if I started to feel that way, like I usually do a monthly training. And if I started to feel that way for like 3 months in a row, like, oh, I really don't want to do this, maybe that's a sign that I should really think about, do I want to continue to do this? Or is it something that I can just let go? I would also then look at the numbers, like, are these live trainings really moving my business forward? Are they really growing my list? Are they really helping my audience? And if the answer is no, that makes my decision a little easier to let it go for a little bit and maybe focus a little bit more on other stuff. Like one example I can give is like my membership for introverts. So I have a membership. It's been about 2.5 years now. It's been running called the Introvertpreneur Club. So it's where it's just for introvert business owners. We focus on all of the feel good marketing methods and finding what works for you. And there's a lot of mindset stuff that comes up as well as an entrepreneur and an introvert. And I was creating monthly content for the membership for about 2 years. And I started to get really exhausted about creating all this new content every month. And I took a step back. I looked at the numbers of like, okay, how many members are actually consuming this content? Is it worthwhile for me to continue doing this if it's like not something I'm enjoying? And people weren't consuming it. They weren't there for the content. They were there for the support. They were there for the community. So I decided, okay, I'm not going to do pre-planned monthly content on certain topics. If something comes up where somebody needs a training or wants me to do training, or I'm like something sparks in me where I want to do a training, I'll do it, but it's not guaranteed every month. And instead, we're going to focus more on the community. So I added in 2 times per month Voxer office hours, which the introverts absolutely love. I was worried that people wouldn't use the Voxer office hours, but
can you explain what Voxer is and why that's been helpful?
Yeah, so Voxer it's basically like I think they call it like a walkie-talkie app. So you can text or you can record audio messages. So during Voxer office hours, I have like 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. People can in my membership can send me messages on these 2 days per month, and I'll get back to them and we can work through their questions or what they're working on. And yeah, the introverts really love it. I feel like introverts.
Don't you think it's because it's asynchronous? Meaning they're sending you messages and then you can send a message back, but it's not happening in real time. Like you're not like on the phone with somebody or actively texting. And the fact that that like you can get the message, then you can respond to the message. I feel like for introverts, that would make me feel good.
Yeah, it's good. I think it works for them. And it also like, because I'm also a huge introvert, for me, I love like getting a message or listening to their audio message. And then I take a few minutes to like reflect on it. It's not like it's live where I have to like answer right away and like come up with this brilliant response. It allows me to really think about things, which as an introvert, I'm in my head a lot and I think a lot. So I love being able to take that few minutes or time to really reflect and give the best response I can and help them.
And by the way, something you said, I keep hearing I love seeing patterns. And one of the patterns I continue to see is just what you shared. In your membership, you feel this need, or you did feel this need to create this library of content and like really prep everything. And memberships, I think, typically sink or swim based on the community and the support they feel from the leader. And it's less about your library. Like everything in the world is available on YouTube. It's not like, oh, you need to therefore have it in your community. Meaning if it comes up and there's something in your, like that, I think of communities as like living organisms. And that's what people come for, is that aliveness, not necessarily for the back library. And in fact, one thing that I've heard over and over is people don't really go back. Maybe they can, it's offered, but that's not where the value seems to be. It's having access in real time to you and to each other.
Yeah, definitely.
So
yeah, and that's something I struggled with the membership, because I love creating content. So I mean, at the beginning, it was fine. It worked. Like it helped to build things up. But I mean, at a certain point, it was like 3 months in a row where I'm like, because what I was doing was at the start of the year, I would create like a 12-month calendar. These are all the things we're going to cover each month. And then the month would come and I'm like, I really don't want to create anything around this topic. It's not something I'm excited about right now, but I had promised it. So I kind of forced myself. But that's where I was like, yeah, this needs to change after a couple months. And then looking at those numbers, that just solidified, like, yeah, I can let this go. This is not what the members actually want.
Now, what happens though, if there's something that you dread, but you're making money from it? What is the conversation you have with yourself?
That's a really good question. So, I mean, sometimes I will push through if it's just, it depends why I'm dreading it. Like if I try to take some inner reflections and be like, okay, why am I dreading this? Is it just because it feels overwhelming and I need to like create a better plan in my project management system that is going to make me easier to go through each step that I need to do to get this out? Or is it just the overall idea that I just don't want to do it? And if that's the case, I mean, it honestly wouldn't matter to me how much money it made. I would find a different way to recoup that money.
Interesting. So you'd get curious about it and start examining what's going on, like go deeper.
Yeah.
That's super interesting.
Yeah.
All right, Tara, I'm assuming in my audience, there are a fair number of introverts. So if people want to reach out to you as an introvert to introvert, what is like, and learn more about what you offer and how you teach, I think they would totally have a vibe of you based on this conversation. Like it was interesting. I will just share, like when we first got on the call, and normally I will say my guests are typically women and it's like, hey, hi. And you had this very calm energy as soon as you got on the call, which was unique, not typical of my podcast guests. So I'm assuming people listening to this are picking up on that energy, and chances are many are very drawn to that because it isn't that crazy like girl hug kind of energy. So if people want to learn from you, reach out to you, have questions, that kind of thing, where would you send them?
So I first, thank you for that, because I mean, I am always calm and reserved and like very, I don't know what the word is, but I'm sitting here and I am anxious. I'm not gonna lie. I am anxious about like one-on-one interviews still. It's still a work in progress. So thank you for that. So the best place to reach me is probably my website. That's like my hub of everything. So tarareid.com. I have an everything page where you can see all of my offers, all 50 digital products, and all of my freebies as well, if you want to sign up for anything and get on my email list, because that's really where I'm delivering the value content, is to my email list. And then I also have the Introvertpreneur podcast. If you want to binge listen to that, we're just wrapping up season 2, and then season 3 will start next year.
Awesome. Well, I have to say, I like your energy. I really do. And I just want to say thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is great.
I hope you guys like this episode. I personally relate to it because I struggle sometimes putting myself out there. It's not a natural feeling for me. I'd rather be home, working, building stuff in the background, in my pajamas. So I'm really glad that I had Tara on the show to represent this whole other side and to show that it's possible to be an introvert and build a successful business. Before I go, I want to announce that on January 20th, I will be doing a 1-hour live training on how to set up a paid workshop. It costs $10 because remember, I want you to have skin in the game. You can sign up at workshop.milotreecart.com. It's easier than you think, and we're going to pull in some AI. Again, go to workshop.milotreecart.com, $10 on Friday, January 20th. And I will see you here again next week.